Well, in a 5-3 loss, the Bourne Braves dropped their 4th out of 5 games recently to the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. Kyle Kercheval, Blaine McCormick, and Justin Galanti in for Tomahawk Talk. Now, Kyle, I'll start with you. What is going on with the Bourne Braves right now? We've seen them kind of drop off the edge here recently, losing yesterday, losing in the doubleheader against Brewster on Sunday, and then they have this most recent loss. What's really not been working for them?
Well, these back-to-back nights, Blaine, it's really been rough starts by Braves starting pitchers, and really they've gotten the Braves in a hole right from the outset. Chris Holba was really rough last night, really struggled with his command. For Kyle Marmon tonight, it was really just one inning that kind of was his undoing. But for the Braves offense, it's just not creating any opportunities. It took them until the 9th inning to get the leadoff man on base. And when you do that, you can't create anything. You don't even have a chance to bunt a guy over. You don't even have a chance to just put the ball in play because nothing's coming of it. So it's the combination of rough starts followed up by a lack of offense. And, well, if you can't pitch and you can't hit, typically you don't win ball games.
Now, it seemed as though that Marmon was off to a good start in the first inning, but then it kind of had a trickle-down effect, and that has been the story these past couple of games. How do the Braves avoid these innings where they just collapse?
Well, really, it comes with throwing strikes, I think, as Kyle said. I mean, if you can give up a couple hits, that's going to hurt you, but not as much as hits and walks, and that's what happened tonight. Marmon walked 2 batters in that 3rd inning, and you saw as the game went on, Luis Alvarado was great out of the bullpen because he only walked 1 batter. Sean Leland was solid because he wasn't walking people, so more strikes would be big, but it's also understandable. I mean, Marmon was a guy who only started 2 games at FAU this year. He's not used to going this long into a game, so when you get to the 3rd inning, yeah, that doesn't seem very deep for a normal starter, but for a guy like Marmon, it kind of is, so you can understand why he started to lose it a little bit in that frame.
And the inexperience kind of hurts Marmon in this instance, but that's what they're here for in summer ball, to work on those skills and develop better as players. One guy who's really developed is Luis. You mentioned him earlier, and he was with Bourne last year, as well as Sean Leland for this Bourne pitching staff. But Luis kind of evolved into a pitcher. You want to kind of explain more on him?
Yeah, so basically when Luis came into Cape Cod League play this last summer back in 2016, he came in as just an outfielder. He really struggled, didn't hit over 200, didn't get too many opportunities as the Braves had a pretty full outfield as it was. So he didn't get too many opportunities to play. Obviously, that's not what he was looking for. But then the issue is I need to find a way to start pitching at some point because he had been fiddling around with the idea of becoming a 2-way player. He only pitched one inning in 2016, went back to Nebraska this last year and really took over as the closer, had a really solid season, and he was really able to develop his fastball slider mix, which he used really effectively today. And like Justin said, throwing more strikes, not walking guys. Luis started off almost, 85% of the guys he faced with first pitch strikes, and he used the breaking ball at least 50% of those times. So when Luis can combine that fastball with the slider, you can see what kind of a pitcher he can become. And over the last 2 years, he's really started to develop that.
Well, it seems as though that they've kind of turned the lights down on us, so they may want to kick us out. Let's get our Players of the Game segment real quick. Mine goes to Richard Palacios. Now, he didn't play a lot during the game, but in the 9th inning, he came in a big spot. Runners on first and second, and he did his job. He laid down a drag bunt, just go down the first base side, and then scored the run. Actually, runners were on second and third. Excuse me. I correct myself, but he did his job, and that's all you can ask for in that kind of situation. So, good job, big fella.
I'm going to go with Luis Alvarado. Kyle talked about him. He was great. 4 scoreless innings out of the bullpen. And even though Bourne lost the game, he allowed Harvey Shapiro to only have to use 3 arms tonight and set Bourne up a little bit better for a doubleheader tomorrow.
I'm going to go with Luis Alvarado as well, really, because you've seen him develop at least I have seen him develop these past few years, and I've really seen where he has grown from a guy that just pitched 1 inning back in 2016 on the Cape. It was a good inning. He gave up a couple hits, but struck out all 3 of his outs. But to see him transition into a complete 2-way player, hit over 280 at Nebraska, and be able to pitch well, become a closer on a good team, that's pretty big. And then he was able to come back this summer, a guy that really hasn't pitched more than 1 inning in any outing, comes out and pitches 4 scoreless for the Braves in a game where they really, really needed it.
And the Braves will really need a win to boost their momentum right now on this 2-game losing streak. They'll look to play the Yarmouth Dennis Red Sox tomorrow in a doubleheader that was rescheduled back in June 18th because of the rainout. So they'll play here at Dorham Park. First game's at 4 o'clock, then the next game is scheduled for around 7, but we'll see how the game goes in order to start that one up. He's Kyle Kercheval. He's Justin Galanti. I'm Blaine McCormick. Thanks so much for joining us on Tomahawk Talk.